Hello everyone, today I Shivansh Bansal, co-founder at Law Community, welcome you all on Lawyers Speak. We have invited a wonderful guest who is advocate in Supreme Court of India, Ms. Sumitra Chaudhary, with expertise in labor and employment law, company law, civil law. She has experience of multifaceted spanning across banking, IT, non-profit organizations, educational institutes, private and public sector, government projects in the field of policy making, due diligence, audit and compliance, payment and settlements, RBI compliance, FEMA guidelines, SEBI rules, information technology law. We welcome her to know more about her journey.
So I think law school plays a very important role in determining your path, as in how you're going to deal with your subject or how confident you will be. And there's a lot you learn depending upon the activities that you take up during the law school. It is very important that students utilize the opportunities that they get, the hands-on experience, learning from the professors, and a lot of activities that happen in law school. So I think I really had a very good experience when it comes to my professors, and they really guided me in a way that in fact, it was that most of them actually found me very scholarly, and each and every faculty of mine was really bent upon me to take PhD in law. And I think that really motivated me to pursue law as a very serious career, because although I wanted to be a practicing lawyer, but then research is also an integral part that I thought that I should pursue based on the competency that my faculty or my lecturers identified in me. So I think law school plays an important role, and I don't go by the name or the brand of the law school, but I would say it is the lecturers that you have and your interaction with them that really determines how you will perform later.
So, after graduation, you pursued masters in corporate and commercial law. Why
Yes.
did you opt for this field specifically and how it helped in your career?
Okay. So it was that I already had considerable international work exposure. I had worked with giant corporates. So masters in corporate and commercial law was a natural choice for me. Um, Corporate culture is just imbibed in me so much that I can just feel it, as in I can relate to it very well in my practical life. So I think that hands-on experience of that subject, it makes sense to me so easily that I just feel it is like second skin to me. Whenever there's anything related to corporate, I feel that one of my very important strengths is that understanding a good understanding of the stakeholder relationships. So that probably makes me to understand corporate law very well and perform its functions efficiently. Maybe that's a reason that I chose this subject for my masters.
So, you have been working as an advocate in Honorable Supreme Court since 2014. What were some challenges did you face in the initial stage of your career?
All right. Starting as an advocate was a very difficult decision for me initially, but I always wanted to be a practicing lawyer at some point of time in my life. I was very, very inspired by the work of senior advocate Indra Jaising ma'am. And I really used to follow her very closely even before I joined the practice. So I really looked up to her. So you could say probably that she was my role model, and I wanted to follow her footsteps. So when I decided to leave my corporate life and join litigation, I was discouraged, and a lot of people came and told me that it was a it is a foolish decision to probably leave a comfortable job and get into law practice, and that it is not easy to practice, and there were all kinds of stereotypical opinions. I would not be wrong to say even gender biased opinions that came my way, and I was very shocked because I always had this notion that those who are practicing law, they must be having a lot of different perspectives than what common man has. So hearing those opinions made me really think about it and ponder as to, am I taking the right decision? So it was a very dull and gloomy moment when I had to decide. But then I was really determined to make it happen, and I thought that I really wanted to be a practicing lawyer. So all these things did not actually uh, let me it did not make me not take law as an option, practicing as an option. So during the year that I joined practice, the POSH Act had come at that time only. And since I was part of the corporate, so I adopted it very quickly because I was also working with in-house committees. So this actually gave me a much needed strength, and again reminded me that it is basically a cause that makes me going. And that is what exactly you need to be a lawyer. You need to be cause oriented, you need to be result oriented, you need to be focused. So maybe that is when I decided that it is time that I start as a practicing lawyer. Initially, it was definitely difficult task to find a mentor um, who could actually tell me what exactly is the role of a lawyer. But then I found a mentor, and they definitely stressed on the need for a lawyer to be independent, fierce, and unbiased. So I'm very thankful to my mentor. I also quickly absorbed these values. Here again, I would like to thank my father, who played a critical role in me taking up litigation. So he always wanted me to raise social issues. I belong to Rajasthan, and the society and community back there needs a lot of awareness and education. So even today, there is a high rate of illiteracy, and human rights is still a foreign word for them. So my dad always felt that as a lawyer, I will be able to connect with the masses and solve real life issues. So then there will be some purpose to my work, and this is precisely the reason I started a legal inclusion initiative, where I have been for the last few years trying to make legal simple for common man. So I want to ensure that people at the last mile know their rights and duties, and I strongly advocate both fundamental rights and duties together, because I think they coexist. Without duties, there cannot be rights. So that is the reason, and this is how it started.
You have been working with IHRO as preliminary legal counselor. What does that involve, and how did you get associated with them?
All right. So this IHRO is basically an NGO, and they are working on five basic issues. So it was mostly to do with girl child, senior citizens, education, healthcare, environment. So these were the five issues that they were working on. So I was approached by them for pro bono legal consultation, and since there were a lot of needy and poor people that were reaching out to them, or probably they were going into such areas that they needed somebody who could provide a basic legal counseling to them. So it did involve a lot of counseling sessions, and sometimes taking them to ensure that they get appropriate legal representation. So it was through the state legal aid services. And sometimes it was that just the counseling could resolve the matter and they really did not need any legal representation. So that role actually gave me a wide exposure, and it gave me immense satisfaction because I had committed certain number of days per month to do that work, and it was completely pro bono. So there was a different kind of excitement every time I thought that, that okay, now it's time for me, or tomorrow is the day that I have to go for counseling in IHRO. The kind of issues that you come across, I mean, the ground issues which we think don't exist, or just because we are in a different kind of environment, we think that, acha, probably these kind of issues don't exist anymore, but the reality of life is very different from what we think. So it really gave me a lot of food for thought, and obviously an opportunity to help the needy. So I really enjoyed that role.
You excel in commercial agreement, contract management, company law, labor and employment law, and various other fields. What tips and advice would you like to give to a person who want to get skilled in multiple fields like you?
Okay, so the fields that you just enumerated, if you look at those areas of law, they're basically interconnected. So they all fall under, pretty much under the corporate law. See, a basic cardinal principle in a life that I follow, being a lawyer, is that law and society are interdependent. So with changes in the society, there will be changes in the law. So if basically we are observant enough to detect the ongoing changes, it will be really easy for us to predict the changes that the law may require. So again, coexistence and mindfulness are two very important traits that a lawyer must possess. If anybody wants to have experience in multiple fields, it is only possible if you have a hands-on experience of the same. And to get the hands-on experience, um there are various ways that either you deal with so many number of cases, or you do a lot of reading, or you learn from others' experience. So reading any which ways is a integral part of the lawyer's life, and there's no other option than actually inculcating this habit to an extent wherein it becomes second skin to us, that we don't have to think about it and it comes naturally to us. So work, and exposure to a variety of cases is what will give you the confidence and knowledge for multiple fields. Also try to do related cases initially. So my advice always to the younger lawyers, or lawyers who are just starting, is that the first 5 years, lawyers should forget every other luxury in life and just focus on becoming a subject matter expertise. And to develop that expertise, there is no other way other than the hard work that it calls for.
You are also working as a Bosch consultant. I want to ask, we are seeing rise in the cases of sexual harassment at workplace every year. So is it because the case have increased or people have become genuinely aware about these scenarios and started taking action against it?
So, sexual harassment has been an integral part of our society since time immemorial. So, it is not that sexual harassment is a new concept or it has just come into our society. It was there forever. It was just that the voices were shut down. So, with increasing awareness and with easy access to complaint mechanisms, so I would say the legal framework has really helped, because the complaint mechanism is now easy, and that is the reason why people have the courage to come and report now. So sexual harassment basically happens anywhere where there is abuse of power. So abuse of power is when someone is in a much higher dominant position where they can take decisions that affect your life materially. So then they are in a stronger position and you are in a weaker position. So a lot of times, owing to a lot of factors in life, you either just give in or you quit. And this has been happening for a long time. So it is just that now we have a proper legal framework and a lot of awareness that is being mandated by the Honorable Supreme Court through the act now. So Vishaka case happened in 1994. And after that, it took nearly 20 years. So the Vishaka judgment came in 97, and there were certain guidelines that were given in that judgment, and it was said that there should be a legislation that should be passed. But it took so many years, almost 15, 16 years, that in 2013, finally, we got the legislation. And even after that, the companies were really reluctant to actually adopt it. So it has taken a lot of penal provisions, a lot of flagging the issues, a lot of bringing it to the notice of the government, that the companies have now become open to it. There's a general thought process in the organizations that till the time employees don't know, there are no cases, and which is very wrong, because whether there are cases or not, sexual harassment is happening. So it must be reported. It is important that it gets reported. So this is probably a reason that now the companies are, since they have to submit an annual report, they are forced or obliged to, or bound to ensure that they do the mandatory training every year, and the employees are now becoming aware of it. So this is the reason why we see a spike in number of cases. It is not that sexual harassment has increased, but it is the number of reporting that has increased.
What changes do you see in the legal sector post
Mhm.
COVID-19, and how you, as an advocate, adopting to it?
See, post the COVID-19, now there will be a lot of technology that will be involved in our courts and in our daily lives as lawyers. So, a lot of things will change for good. So, for example, I think that a lot of traveling will decrease. So, if you look at the number of transfer cases that Supreme Court gets every year, I think that will considerably be reduced, because the reason why, for example, in a family case, the wife or the lady asks for a transfer is that probably it is in a court which is not convenient for her to go, or there is a threat to life. So with technology coming in, now she can have proceedings over video conferencing. So the number of transfer cases might reduce. Similarly, a lot of litigation will be done in a very fast manner, because it would be, the processes would be cut short. So the physical processes, the handing over of paper documents. So even Supreme Court has adopted technology so well, and probably COVID-19 gave that much required push that our courts needed. So we were techno friendly, but we were slowly adapting it. But this pandemic actually pushed it to a level wherein now we understand the need for having the technology imbibed is so important and critical, that we have actually started doing a lot of work through the technology platform, right? So introducing of e-filing, introduction of e-hearing. So these things will really help the courts ensure that their number of cases are handled effectively, faster. Although there's another side to it when it comes to criminal trials and when it comes to lower courts, that whether each and everything is possible over video conferencing or not. But I see a lot of positive change happening in the legal sector. So adopting technology will definitely improve our processes and remove the redundant steps. And definitely, technology should be a strong contributor to make our life convenient as lawyer and to reduce the burden on the courts.
Lastly, I would like to ask, what suggestion would you like to give to a student who has recently started their career, or those who are still studying in the law school?
Okay, those who are still in the law school, I would suggest that please focus on your subject knowledge right now, because this is the time that you have to build on your basic foundation. Take your internship seriously, and when you look out for internship, please don't go running behind the top 5 names, because that is what everybody does. I just want to remind, I don't discourage this, but I'm encouraging them to actually approach a senior with a reasonable experience. So any lawyer who may not be a senior advocate but has an experience of 10 years and above is a reasonably good lawyer. So if an intern joins such an office, one, they will get a variety of exposure. Maybe it is not a flashy certificate to show that, okay, I had done an internship in such a big law firm or with such a big lawyer, but it will give you a lot of practical hands on experience, and that will be a very productive internship. So with internship, what you need, that the lawyer is able to share their experience with you and give you that knowledge which you may learn in probably 3 years if you had to learn it yourself. So if you are joining a office where you don't even end up meeting the senior for 2 times, there's no point going for that internship, because you may have learned, I mean, you had the opportunity to learn 80%, but then you ended up learning only 40%. So my advice to students is take your internship seriously, take your moot court seriously, try to explore as much as possible when you're in law school, because all these activities build you as a person. It gives you a lot of confidence in dealing certain matters in certain way, and it also helps you that what is the process and what the approach should be like. So please don't miss out on those opportunities, even if you think that this is a weak area. Don't hold back yourself thinking that okay, my friends will make fun of me, or my it's okay. You are there to learn, and this is your time to learn. So please do it. Even if you're making a mistake at that time, it's only your friends, but if it is later, then the entire world will be laughing at you, because as soon as you finish your law school and you start as a lawyer, you are expected to know everything. So I think you should know that whenever a common man or a layman comes to you, he comes with an expectation that you are a lawyer and you should know everything. Although it is practically not possible to know everything, even for lawyers who have a substantial number of years of experience. So, till the time you don't deal with a certain law or a certain case, it is not possible to know that law in depth. Okay, a basic idea. So, getting that basic idea is also very important. So, you should actually know what is the law that I should go and look into for a particular matter. And to know that, you need to have an overall idea. Second, please be updated, as in be updated with what are the changes that is taking place across around you. For example, I would like to give you an example that COVID-19 came in, and the number of users online increased. So an observant lawyer would know that, okay, this is going to lead to a lot of cyber crimes now, right? So similarly, you should be observant enough and be updated as to what is happening, so that you can predict what would be a change, or what kind of crimes or what kind of issues pertaining to a certain situation will arise now. Okay, and that is when okay, what is the kind of law that I am supposed to be reading right now or knowing about, because these are the kind of queries that will come to me. For a new lawyer, I would say that first 5 years, at least 2-3 years, start work with a senior, at least 2-3 years, because initially you may not have a brief or you may not have many cases to give you exposure. But first 2-3 years when you work under somebody, they already have a lot of files. They already have a lot of cases in various courts. They may be doing district court, they may be doing high court, they may have cases pertaining to Supreme Court. Be open to going to any court. And as new lawyers, my suggestion would be that new lawyers should start from district courts, because district court is where you end up learning the most. High court and Supreme Court, it is basically the legal position, so the legal points. But district court is where you actually know what happens in a trial, what happens in a case, and you see, any case comes from district level to high court and then to Supreme Court. So if you know what exactly would have transpired in the district court or what exactly would have gone wrong there, then it will definitely help you when you have to argue a case in high court or Supreme Court. So my suggestion is please be open to all the courts. You need to have a hands-on experience everywhere so that so that you can be a full-fledged lawyer, as in complete lawyer. Because it so happens that I also did that. That I also wanted to start with Supreme Court directly, but then this was the advice given by my senior, and I think that was one of the most valuable advice anybody had ever given to me, because once I did the trial court, I understood that that is the place where everything is happening. It is so happening, and district court practice or the high court practice is so very different from the Supreme Court practice. So my suggestion would be first 5 years, just work as many cases as you can, read as many files as you can, work, read, repeat.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for having such an amazing interaction with us. And it will definitely gonna benefit lots of young-minded people. And we are delighted to have a time with you, and we are grateful for the same. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Thank you for giving me the opportunity.